Good morning, League fans, and this is the special Southern Hemisphere edition of our show, and it's a very special show because we have Darren Lockyer, who has announced that he is definitely applied to take over the London Broncos. We're going to ask him all about the details of that. So this is a kind of updated program from what was heard in the UK yesterday. But in the UK, there was also a match overnight, and it was a massive, massive upset. It was Catalan's Dragons, who've had a dog of a year, beating Leeds, who are playing for a home playoff, 16-8. And our reporter at the ground was John Davidson. How did this happen?
Yeah, it was a stunning night, Steve. Quite wet and not the best conditions at Headingley. And no one really expected Catalans to get up, but it was a really gritty performance from the Dragons, really defensively strong, and just basically completely shocked the crowd here at Leeds.
Now, yeah, it was great defence in the second half when they were down to 12 men, wasn't it? The commentators, which you often hear, the commentators kind of get on board subconsciously with the crowd, and when there's no one there supporting Catalans, they tend to be quite pessimistic about Catalan's chances of winning, but it was quite heroic defence, and a field goal attempt that bounced off an upright was really the turn. Well, not the turning point; it kind of sealed it for them.
It did, yeah. I mean, it was picked up by Lachlan Miller, the Rhinos fullback, and then Luke Keary absolutely smashed him in a tackle. The ball came loose, and Julian Biscay swooped, grounded the ball, and that basically sealed the win with about 7 minutes to go. Brodie Croft got a late try, but it was just consolation for Leeds, who really they were gunning for second spot on the table, trying to draw level with Wigan, but that chance is blown now with one game left in the regular season.
It was great to have you there as a reporter. You went to the presses. What can you tell us about Brad Arthur and Joel Tomkins?
Yeah, I mean, Brad Arthur was obviously very frustrated and disappointed with the chance that his team had blown. He was asked about what went wrong for Leeds, and obviously they were missing Jake Connor, and the big question mark really about whether he will be fit to play Wigan next week. He's nursing a rib injury, but he basically described it as one of their worst performances of the year.
And also, what about Joel Tomkins? Must have been absolutely stoked and over the moon. He's a lot of people think he's been thrown into that job a bit early.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think he was very, very happy with just the grit and the toughness that his team showed. It wasn't a pretty win, but it's been, as you said, it has been a dog year for the French club. But there's signs there that the improvement is happening, and this is a big step forward for them. They only had 18 fit players and a couple of injuries in that game as well, but they managed to hang in there and get very against the odds, back to the wall victory.
On with the show, John. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Before we hear from Darren Lockyer and whatever else we have in the next hour, let's go through the Rugby League birthdays. And Joe Jorgensen, who was a player in the first half of the last century, he was born in 1919 and died in 1993. He played for Australia, New South Wales first, country first, city first, Group 7, rest of New South Wales first. I didn't even know that team existed. Probables, Group 7, Balmain, Parramatta. Anyway, he was born in 1919, and it's his birthday today. Died in 1993. Let's go down other birthdays today. Big Jim Hall, who was a judiciary commissioner for quite some time under Super League and then the NRL. 79 today, Jim Hall. Happy birthday to Jim. The late Paul Green, he was born in 1972, so he would have been 60 today. Very, very sad. Let's keep going. Kevin Sinfield, who was in the stands of that game we just spoke to John about. Kevin Sinfield, 45 today. Happy birthday to Kevin. Sir Kevin. What else have we got here? Anyone else? No one that you would have heard of. Okay. So we'll just, we'll move on now. We'll take a look. Anthony Watts, who is 39 today. Somewhat controversial player for Widnes, North Queensland and Cronulla. And he also played for the PMs 13, which I Must admit, I didn't know. Okay, after the break, the great Darren Lockyer. As promised, here in a very flash part of London, Darren Lockyer. Darren, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks, Steve. I mean, this is some place, isn't it? Like this part of London. I've never been here before, but it's heaving.
We're at the Mayfair, just near Green Park. It's the first time since I've moved here I actually had to walk past Buckingham Palace to get somewhere, so it's pretty awesome. Just easy question first. Tell everyone as much as you can about what you've been doing. You've been here less than a week.
So we're over here. We've got an exclusive DD period of where we're potentially purchasing the majority of the London Broncos.
Maybe next time.
And so we've been meeting with different parties. Just trying to get a bit more of a sense of the opportunity, but also the challenges that lie in front of us if we're successful with acquiring the London Broncos and potentially getting back into the Super League.
Now, in America, you can buy a sports franchise and on-sell it and make a massive profit. That has never happened in English Rugby League, and it's probably only just starting to happen in the NRL. So the most straightforward question is, what's in it for you? Why? What's in it for you?
Look, I never had set out ambitions to own a sporting franchise. It just sort of fell in our lap in the last couple of months. And look, I think it's rugby league. It's got the Bronco name in it, and it's London. So that's probably what really appeals to me. It's my business partner and I, we're entrepreneurial, so we like the journey or the adventure of a deal. And so, but at the same time, we understand that this has got some challenges and some risks in it, but we're here to make it work. And look, I know the NRL is obviously in a really good position now. Some of those clubs have, got good revenues, they're very profitable. But that's what our objective is here, to make the London Broncos profitable. And that's getting the business high performance on the field and high performance off the field.
It sounds like you're pretty close. It sounds like you're all in. Like, are we days away from this being confirmed?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, because the bid goes in Friday, and they need the RFL need to understand who the actual owners are. So, I think in the next sort of 48 hours, the transaction will be complete.
Now, we talked about this a bit earlier off air, but the NRL and the speculation around NRL Europe and the new administration of the RFL are two very different things. And Shane Richardson has said publicly that the NRL should not deal with the current RFL. So I've read commentary about, he's coming over to take over the club for the NRL. So it's, again, a pretty straightforward question. Maybe oversimplified. Whose side are you on? I mean, are you on the side of the current owners of the London Broncos, or are you over here on some mission from Peter V'landys?
No, nothing of this is related to the NRL. Like, this is just myself, my business partner. A proposal came across our desk, and we decided, well, let's have a look at it. And as we got more into it, we just got, let's do this, right? And I think the Broncos in London they're in, it's a distressed club. And if someone didn't come to buy it now, then the risk was that the London Broncos would no longer exist. And so that's the window or the opportunity that we see, that we're here to try and turn the London Broncos around and have a successful brand in London would be a great outcome for the game.
Everyone outside is guessing whether there's a chance at London or any other club, Oldham or Toulouse or Bradford, or whether they can get into Super League next year. Hopefully, in your case, because you've been a money riding on it, it's not quite a guess like most of the listeners. So what can you say about the chances of getting into Super League next year?
Yeah, look, we've rolled our sleeves up and we've moved very quick to try and get ourselves ready for Super League. We're going to put the bid in on Friday, but we're also realists and understand that if we're not going into the Super League, then we have to adjust our strategy a little bit. We'll have to go into the Championship. But again, it gives us time to build out a roster, build the business. But we'll back ourselves that if we're successful in getting in the Super League, we'll roll the sleeves up. We'll be over here doing a lot of work to get the business and get the football department ready for next season.
Talking to Darren Lockyer about the takeover of the London Broncos. If I can go back to my second last question, would you like to build some bridges with the NRL so that if they do something, you're on their radar and you're under consideration?
Yeah, I think we're really clear to ourselves about we need to make this work on its own. Right? We need to build a business and make this, a viable business that we're doing this all on our own, though, and that can maybe create the attention of NRL. It could also be, if we can be a bit of an example of how to turn a club around and people can learn from what we've done, that'd be the best outcome for us, that we've been successful in doing this.
Can you tell us anything about what the ownership structure will be like, whether there's going to be other parties come in from Oz or elsewhere, and who that's there now would stay and who that's there now maybe wouldn't, or what areas you think need bolstering?
Yeah, so the priority is obviously getting this bid in, and the three owners at the moment, myself, Grant, and Gary Hetherington. So once we get past the Super League, whether we're in or out, we'll then look to bring in some strategic investors that we think can add value to the club, and they could be anywhere from here in London, or they could be back home in Australia.
Okay, and as far as you could spend in any division, you can spend up to the salary cap. So would you be looking to spend the full salary cap in year one, regardless of what division you're in, or would it only be in Super League that you'd look to spend the full salary cap?
Yeah, well, I think it's important that the coach gets a roster that he thinks he can win with, right? So we'd definitely be looking to spend the cap. I mean, you got to be obviously prudent with your money and make good decisions, because while the revenue streams are there, there's a lot of costs involved in running a football in a rugby league club. So, we'd be spending the cap, but we'd be doing it in a way that is prudent.
Is Jason Demetrio coming even if you're in the championship?
Yes, he is.
Right, okay. And you mentioned, another interview you did, someone sent me a message and said, I think he's talking about Daly Cherry Evans as captain. Has his name come across your desk, and is he the sort of player?
Yeah, well, look, we sort of... we did have a player in mind that we're talking to. There was genuine interest, but he's decided, just today actually, he's decided that he's a no. But that's okay. We think we can. After I watched the London Broncos play on the weekend, there's a handful of players in there that I like. So I think we can build a squad. The culture at that club right now is a good one because they've sort of had nothing to work with. So they've got a resilient, tough football club because they don't have a lot, right? So that's something we need to take into the new squad. So we're going to sprinkle maybe 6 to 10 players into that current squad there now, and we think we can be competitive.
Mike Eccles is an impressive guy, isn't he? And he single-handedly stayed down here when he could have gone back up north, accepted a more secure job, and he's kept the club alive along with the other people who were there. Yeah,
and Mike will stay at the club. He'll have a different role, he won't be head coach, but he'll move to a role that will be significant in the football department. And we've already linked him up with Jason, so they're already talking about rosters and which British players that are out there that are targets. So I think. Yeah, it's just there's people in that business there now that are obviously very good people, given what they've been through the last 4 or 5 years, and they're still there.
We're talking to Darren Lockyer about the London Broncos. Jason Demetrio was linked to the new PNG franchise by a lot of people. He's national coach, and obviously Adrian Lamb is also would love that job as well. So how has that been a consideration in your discussions with him?
Oh, look, Jason's been upfront and said, look, I'd like to get back to the NRL as a head coach one day. So this is a stepping stone for him, and we're aware of that. So look, if he's going to be a target for an NRL coach, well then he's come over here and he's been successful, which is a good thing for us.
Yeah. Can you tell us about some of your other plans for the club and the game day and getting, getting people to go back? Because what you'll see on social media is, it's been tried so many times before and it's never been successful. So I guess I'm asking for a bit of a pitch here, but Richard Branson is a pretty celebrated sort of guy. So what is your pitch to why you guys can do it?
Well, we've got to think we're in the entertainment business, right? So the game's the game, but we've got to build experiences in and around the game on game day. target, get our corporate experience right, cater for families, cater for people that just want to go sit in the grandstands and have a beer. Like, you just got to bring in, and then, there's all sorts of other activations that we can think of, and we're trying to think outside the box already. We hired a consultant who's got a lot of NRL experience. He's very good at building a business out of a football club, and he'll have a lot of ideas. And so we want to. The thing is, there's 150, 170,000 Kiwis and Aussies over here. Like, to sell out our current stadium, we just got to engage 8,000 of them and get them to become members. And we're building an experience with an atmosphere every time there's a home game. That's sort of like where our head's at the moment with it.
And just 2 or 3 more things. One is that, as we've discussed and as you've read, the positions 13 and 14 are going to be judged on IMG points, but with an extra layer of scrutiny on finance. So is it you and Grant, is it your aim to kind of blow them out of the water in terms of finance? Is that how you're going to jump 5 spots?
Look, I think it's articulating what your business plan is and being realistic about where we're not going to be cash flow positive until, maybe year 4 or 5. But we've got a deliberate plan. This is what we're building to. And we're not banking on the RFL giving us any more money than what they are now to clubs. I mean, in the first year, I think we potentially get less funding than the other clubs. So there's obviously a challenge in filling that gap. But we're aware of there's not going to be any dividends out of this for at least 5 years. So we're there for the right reasons, and we're there for the long haul.
Okay, 2 more things, and one just to pick your or get more on what you just said. If you go into Super League next year, what can you say about the amount of central funding you'll get?
That it won't be the same as what the current clubs get. It'll be less. I'm hearing significantly less, because at the end of the day, the broadcasters aren't paying more money for these extra 2 teams coming in. So there's no more money in the pot, so to speak. So we get that, we understand that. Hopefully, with the 2 more teams coming in and the competition rates well next year, then maybe the broadcast deal gets significantly better, and then the clubs get more money.
Okay, last thing, Darren. You've been very impressive on all the interviews you've done, and it was great going, with the shaking hands with 1,000 people and posing for a lot of. But I mean, I just as a bloke who's been here a number of times, and some of the greatest moments of your career, and the last moment of your career was here. Can you kind of let the mask slip a little bit and tell us how it's been emotionally this week? You're on the verge of owning the London Broncos, and you walked into that stadium at the weekend, and I guess you knew that people would recognise you, but I would imagine the reaction was quite overwhelming. So from an emotional point of view, to come over here with a couple of your mates and to be sitting here in a nice Mayfair hotel and about to buy the London Broncos, how do you feel?
It's crazy. We literally haven't had time to sit down and think about this. We've just been going from meeting to meeting to today we're out looking at the training facility we're potentially going to go to out at Woking. So that's the thing, because this is all happening so quick. We're going at a really fast pace, but it is a little bit surreal. Like I said, I didn't have an ambition to be owning a sporting franchise, but this fell in our lap, and now we're at this point where we think, we're confirmed to ourselves that we're going to do this, and now it's up to us to make it work.
Yeah. Well, obviously, expansion in this part of the world for rugby league has not been successful, except Catalans, and even they are under pressure. So you're taking on a massive thing, but it seems that goodwill is a really big part of it, isn't it? So, and you seem to have a lot of goodwill. Well,
there's a lot of goodwill. I think it's good for the game to have a strong London team, but I think there's a lot of challenges and a lot of risks. We're aware of that, but we're here. And I'm a very competitive person. I have fear of failure. I'm going to do this, and my biggest, driving motivation was no failure.
Yeah. Darren, safe journey home. Enjoy the movies.
Thanks, Steve. Good to see you.
Thursday night Super League, and it was an amazing performance from the Catalan Dragons. Their 10th win of the year, and it was away to Leeds, who are fighting for a home playoff. 16-8 was the score. And here's what the new Dragons coach, Joel Tomkins, had to say about the evening.
I know it's been in us, but I thought tonight was a special effort. There's some games go that way. Sometimes I've been involved in a few as a player, but it's one of the bravest performances I've been involved with, for sure. I think sometimes when you're, we were down to our last 18 fit players, backs against the wall, coming up against a top team. It's kind of, that fight or flight. And obviously tonight we decided to fight. And I thought we had a decent game plan. We recognised that the wingers stay high on the end of the line, and we kicked early a little bit and got a couple of 40-20s and a 20-40, and it just set us up and gave us a bit of confidence. And then it's quite rare this season that we've been in front in games. A lot of games we've been chasing and been close, and we've had a few. We've had a couple of 30-0s along the way, but then for us to be in front, I thought it just gave us confidence, especially with the conditions. It's hard to come up with points in those conditions. So, mate, I am wondering where it's been in some games, but we've had that effort and attitude in other games, but the bounce of the ball hasn't gone our way and stuff, and I thought tonight we deserved it.
Leeds Rhinos fans were left rethinking their plans for a home playoff after a shock 16-8 loss to Catalans in slippery conditions at Headingley on Thursday night. And it was a real headache for coach Brad Arthur. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, frustrating. I think we've seen a couple of those performances this year. Look, our losses look the same. We're in positions where we probably can win the game, but we find ways to lose it. Just felt like tonight that a few guys tried a bit too hard. Come up with plays, or we got a lot of moments wrong, a lot of big plays wrong, a lot of execution wrong. Yeah, disappointing because I don't know where it's come from. Obviously, I felt like a couple of guys tried too hard. But I think when you get frustrated like that, we got to learn to just relax, calm down, get back into a bit of a cycle. But we keep chasing and trying to force the issue. We've got to learn to be a bit more patient there and build away at it. We had to do a thing out on the field, but the boys wanted to come inside straight after and address it, and they just talked about that. Everyone's got to own their job, and we don't need everyone to go above their job. Just need 17 blokes to do their job, and we can't beat ourselves because that's what we did. I'm not taking any credit away from them because they flustered us, frustrated us, scrambled hard, turned up. They fought really hard. And they made some last-ditch effort tackles on the try line to stop us. But, that just sort of led to the frustration instead of us just chipping away at it.
Well, the finals are underway in the NRL, and what a brutal game it was at Amy Park. Melbourne running out 26-18 winners with a couple of late tries, and there's one injury everyone's talking about, and that is to the Canterbury captain, Stephen Crichton. Of course, Canterbury now have to play in week 2 of the finals, while Melbourne are 80 minutes from the GF. So we'll run through the details, and then we'll hear a little bit more about Stephen Crichton's injury. For Melbourne, it was tries to Ellie Katoa in the 3rd minute, Ati Lasardi in the 34th, Tyron Wishart in the 65th, and Will Warbrick in the 76th. It was a 5 from 5 kicking performance from the team, but the actual kicking responsibilities were split. Nick Meaney kicked 3, and Jonah Pezzett, who was outstanding, kicked 2. For the vanquished Bulldogs, Toby Sexton scored in the 20th minute, Jacob Kiraz in the 29th, Matt Burton in the 57th, and Matt Burton kicking 3 from 3 at half-time. The Storm led 14-12. Now let's have a listen to what Coach Cameron Ciraldo says about that ankle injury, suspected syndesmosis injury, to his star player and captain, Stephen Crichton.
No, it's hard to know now without getting scans, but when you can't finish a game, it's not looking great. But as I said, we've got a lot of depth in our squad, and some guys are going to get opportunities, and that's going to be great for them. Like Nari got an opportunity last week and went really well and stayed in the team, and Toby Sexton got an opportunity tonight and did really well. So we've got some guys there that are going to get opportunities. That's
Nari Tuala, his centre, that Cameron was discussing there, and the big international back rower, Viliami Kikau. He was injured in the opening minutes of the match, was forced off, and it looked like he wouldn't be coming back, but in fact he did return And Cameron was asked about his condition as well.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good. He got a knock. He had a knock on the eye from last week, and then hit him in the same spot and sort of floored him there. And no, but he's good. He did really well coming back on.